much to Mduzas, Joseph Moreover, Medusa Leus, JJ Morris, Noisy R6, and Maxwell Naveen for all becoming members of the channel. What's going on, guys? It's CCA, and today we're playing, well, I guess technically not playing more Clash Royale. We're making a Clash Royale tier list. We actually rated every single Clash Royale evolution from all the way to S to F tier, rating every single one, giving my opinions on which are good, which are bad, what is good about them, and it was a lot of fun. Some of you guys had some opinions about them, and are probably going to have some opinions about some of these evos in the comments, but we did this all on stream yesterday, and it was actually really fun, just picking some of your guys' brains apart in the comments or in the chat, and yeah, it was a good time. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of these tiers, and let's get right into it. Let's start off with the Barbs evolution here, okay? The Barbs, I think, recently have kind of come sort of back into the meta a little bit. They're really good against Royal Giant, and Royal Giant is super popular, and also just good against a lot of beatdown and even like Hog Rider decks. The Barbs are pretty solid. The Barb Evo, though, it's just not, I don't know, I feel like the Barb Evo is just kind of like, it's not a game breaker like a lot of these other evolutions that we're going to go through. So I think I'm going to give it like maybe a C tier, maybe a B tier, like, I don't know, what do you guys think? I feel like I kind of want to give it a C tier, just because it's not like a super crazy, like, game breaking evolution. I feel like it's decent, you know? I wish there was something like in between these two. C, yeah, I think C as well. I'm gonna keep it in C because I know that there are some evolutions in here that are worse than the Barbs. Let's go to the Royal Giant. The Barbs counter the Royal Giant really well, but honestly, there are very few cards that I think counter the RG. I think the RG is so strong right now. I hope if they don't nerf the Royal Giant, I hope that they at least nerf some of the cards that work really well with it, like the Monk, the Hunter, the Fisherman, some of those cards. I'm gonna give the Royal Giant evolution an A. I don't know if it's an S tier evolution. Maybe we'll upgrade it later on. For now, I'm gonna keep it an A. I think it's really good though, just because that Evo, the knockback provided by the RG, I think a lot of people really underrate it because it just allows like mini tanks like the Knight, the mini P.E.K.K.A. Not only like does it take out swarm cards, but it resets mini tanks animations on the RG, which can be super freaking annoying. So we're gonna keep that at A. The Firecracker. Now I feel like the Firecracker evolution, depending on the game, can either be an S tier or an F tier. You know, there's games where you seemingly get a ton of value out of it. You're up against the correct opponent, and you end up just getting a ton of damage on that tower with the Firecracker evolution. On the other hand, if you're playing against somebody that has like arrows or, you know, fireball, some kind of spell that takes the Firecracker out pretty easily, then you just don't get a whole lot of value out of it, which kind of sucks. So I think because of that, I'm gonna put it maybe like B tier. I think it's better than the Barb Evo. I just think it can get countered pretty easily. I think it's just okay, because like I said, sometimes you get a lot of value out of it, sometimes you don't. I feel like though that's more like a C tier kind of evolution if that's the case. You know what? I'm gonna bump it down to C. I'm gonna bump it down to C just because, like I said, it's situationally good, I'd say. The Skeleton Evo, I'm not gonna lie, another very situational evolution here. Again, sometimes you get insane value out of this, and sometimes you don't, right? When these skeletons, by the way, so obviously right now they spawn 3. When they spawn 4, you were able to get way more connections with the skeletons and able to spawn a ton of them. there's a better evolution that you can put in your deck if you have the skeletons in your deck. That's just usually the way it is. Next is the mortar evolution. Now, deep down in my heart, I want to give this an S tier just because I am a proud mortar player. But I think it's like a B or a C tier Evo, bro. Honestly, I'm gonna give it a B. That might be a little bit biased. What do you guys think about the mortar evolution? Maybe my bias is bumping this up a little bit higher than it deserves. I think a B is okay for that. When you get connections with this mortar evolution, not only is it super satisfying, but it is, it just does so much damage. It shoots faster, and it shoots a goblin. You think a B as well, Diego? I think so as well, man. I think the mortar evo is really good, and if you're able to make it work, it can be a monster, bro. It can honestly win you games that you are getting completely outplayed on. Night evo is up next. Let's go for the night evos. Okay, I feel like with the night evolution, I use it quite a bit, honestly, just because the night, honestly, I feel like you can get a lot of value out of the night. It's very good at distracting, like, ranged stuff, and it can be super, super tanky. S. You think S, Diego? I was thinking like a B or an A, honestly, because I feel like there are just better evolutions that I want to throw in the S. Like, for me, an S tier Evo is something that is absolutely broken, something that needs to get like nerfed, or something that's just super, super strong in the meta. I think the Night Evo is strong, but I don't know if I'd say it's S tier, you know what I mean? I think I'm gonna put it A. I think the Night Evo is really good, but I feel like I said, S tier is like either something that's super broken or something that's just really annoying or force out a ton of elixir from opponents. Looks like some of you guys are saying S or A. Most of you guys are saying A though. Looks like I'm gonna keep it in A tier. Next up, Royal Recruits Evolution. What do you guys think about the Royal Recruits Evo? I think, okay, honestly, Royal Recruits in general, I feel like it's just so freaking annoying to go up against, bro. It's so annoying. I'm so tired of playing the recruits. I feel like most of the time when you're playing recruits, you force your opponent to use a ton of elixir to counter them, and you can start split lane pushes, split lane pressure. It's crazy, the Royal Recruits. The Evo, I don't really think changes the Royal Recruits a whole lot. Like, obviously it has a dash ability that makes it super, like, annoying. But I don't know. I really don't think the Recruit Evo makes a whole lot of a difference. I think it's like a C tier, bro, honestly. I think the Recruits in general are already a really good card. So if you're using a Recruits deck, you use the Recruit Evo, but I really don't think that the Royal Recruits evolution is amazing. It's like a C or a D tier. The card is already strong, but the evolution doesn't really add a whole lot to the card, in my opinion. The Bats evolution, bro. I swear these things stay alive for just forever, bro. These things stay alive forever once you get them healed up. I'm considering putting it S tier, I'm not gonna lie, which might be crazy for the Bats. I think A tier is more appropriate. I honestly think it's a little bit situational. Like, if you have an opponent with a zap, they get countered pretty easily, but like sometimes those Bats force out like big spells, especially against certain decks that don't have like the zap or the rage or stuff like that. It forces people to use big spells on the Bats, and I feel like that is worth putting them in like an A, maybe even like a B. I'd be willing to concede and bump them down to a B. I want to throw them back to A, I think. The Bats are freaking annoying, bro. Archer Evolution is up next, though. This is a tough one. I feel like these have been really good in Expo decks and Eagle decks. If you see anybody using either of those two variations of decks, use the Ice Spirit Evo because there are some disgusting plays you can get with this Ice Spirit evolution. I think this is going to be our first S tier Evo of the day. I know it's only a 1 elixir card. The Ice Spirit Evo sometimes helps you shut down like full pushes. It gets so much value, so much of the time, I feel. For a 1 elixir card, it gets so much value so much of the time. Not only is it really good defensively, but if your opponent isn't crazy, if you just throw the Ice Spirit at the tower, it requires a response, or else you're gonna get a ton of damage. Like, I think it's like about 300 to 400 damage on your opponent's tower if you connect that Ice Spirit Evo unresponded. I think that's our first S tier evolution of the day. Back when it was 3 little bursts, it was completely broken. I still think it's really good though. I still think it's really, really good. The Valkyrie Evo, now everybody in the game, or like most people in the game, should have this evolution because they actually gave it for free. I think this Evo is really good, especially in Lava Loon. You see Lava Hound decks using the Valkyrie evolution a lot of the time, and for good reason. Can take out air stuff as long as it's within its vicinity, like taking out bats and stuff and pulling back giants and stuff away from your tower. I think this is an A tier evolution. I gotta stick with my gut. It's a really good Evo. I'm gonna skip a couple of these Evos and go all the way to the Goblin Drill evolution, just because I want to start filling out this board and getting some lower rated Evos. I think the Goblin Drill Evo, one of the worst evolutions in the game, if not the worst. There are some others that I can think of that are probably not as good either, but Goblin Drill, I'm going to put it in F. Honestly, I think it's an F tier evolution. Most cards that counter the drill will counter this evolution. If played properly, like guards will counter that evolution still. Valkyrie will counter the evolution still. If for some reason you're using Wizard, that'll counter the evolution still. Like most of the cards that already counter the drill, counter the Evo drill. I don't know if I'm crazy in saying that, but I think it's probably one of the worst drills, one of the worst evolutions in the game. To the Bomber Evo, it's another situational evolution. This is a good Evo. I feel like you can get some pretty good value out of it. The only downside is it is quite easy to get King Tower activated off this evolution if you play it properly. I think this is a B tier Evo. It's kind of like one of those mid tier evolutions that sometimes is good, sometimes it's bad. But I think this is like on that B tier for sure. Like I definitely rate the Bomber below all of these A tier Evos. Bomber Evo is good, but it's not like a game breaker like some of these other evolutions are. I'd say it's good, not crazy. Wall breakers. I don't know if some people actually, I don't know if everybody knew this about the Wall Breakers evolution last season. This Wall Breakers evolution was accidentally like probably one of the most broken cards in the game for like a full month basically, because the Wall Breaker evolution actually did there was like a bug in the game that made the Wall Breakers evolution do like bonus damage. So it would do like the regular Wall Breaker damage and then bonus damage because they were evolved, and it was just a complete bug. Like it was in the game for a few weeks, and there's so many people using the Wall Breakers because of that. I think they patched that out of the game, but still the Wall Breaker evolution, I'd say, is still probably one of the stronger Evos in the game. I think this is another S tier, bro. Honestly, I think it's another S tier. I feel like this is just one of those cards in general, like the Wall Breakers in general, is a strong card. Usually requires a negative elixir trade to counter them, and the Wall Breaker Evo just like emphasizes that and allows you to get even more positive elixir trades. Tesla, I think this actually got a buff recently as well in the most recent balance changes. It's been a staple in the Expo for a long time, and there are some other decks that use value. I feel like this is like a, honestly, like a C or a D tier even evolution. I want to put it in C. I feel like it's on par with these Evos. Not sure if I'd have it in D tier, but yeah, that's an Evo I'd say for sure. It's like probably like one of the weaker ones. The Wizard. Oh, this is another bad evolution. It's just like not that good. Very rarely does that shield that it has get any like crazy value. Wizard, I'm gonna say that's like a freaking. I'm considering D or F. Any objections to like putting it in F tier? Again, it's just an evolution that doesn't really get a whole lot of value, like extra value, I'd say. It's just the definition of a mid-ladder card. Goblin Barrel evolution. This is an S tier, bro. This is an S tier Evo. This thing gets regularly so much value. This thing regularly gets so much freaking value. This Evo, like, completely revolutionized the way the whole log bait, like, archetype plays. Like, it turned like log bait into a single lane pressure, with the princess, Goblin Barrel, Knight, Defend. It turned like a whole log bait meta, flipped it on its head, and made it a split lane pressure deck. It is such a good evolution. I think one of the better Evos in the game. You can make a double push with Evo Goblin Barrel. Exactly, bro. Evo Barrel is so good. After that, it's gotta be S tier. Anyways, Goblin Giant evolution. Back when the Goblin Giant and the Goblin Giant Evo and the P.E.K.K.A. Evo were a thing, and were like really good at the top of its game. This thing was insane. They've nerfed it since then, and it's not as good. I feel like it's still kind of decent. I'm considering like a C or a B tier for the Goblin Giant evolution, honestly. I think I'm gonna put it into B tier. I'd say it's better. I'd say it's better than the C tier evolutions. I think it fits into that B tier Evo area like pretty well. I don't know. I don't think there's too many objections for like a mid-tier evolution. What is not a mid-tier evolution though is the Goblin Cage Evo. I think this is an easy S tier. Easy. This might be one of the strongest, if not the strongest evolution in the game, honestly. There are some cards later on that we're gonna get to that I'd say are like similar in strength, maybe slightly worse or better, but the Goblin Cage evolution is one of the best Evos in the game. You can just scoop up a whole P.E.K.K.A. or a whole Giant or a whole Golem, you know, for the same price of 4 Elixir, and it just completely shuts it down. It's such a good Evo, bro. Such a good evolution. The P.E.K.K.A. evolution, I'd say, is in a bit of an interesting spot, because when it was first introduced, the thing was insane. It was running rampant all over the arena. People were using it a ton. Like I said, with the Goblin Giant Evo and just like bridge spam and everything. And then they nerfed the crap out of it. Made it so that the P.E.K.K.A. only heals depending on what's like the health of the card that it actually kills, right? But they recently buffed the Evo again. I just the thing is though, I'd say it's still like a D or a C. I think I'm gonna put it in D tier, bro. I don't think the P.E.K.K.A. Evo is in a good spot still, even after the slight buff that it got. I find it still gets countered by, like, I find I'm still able to counter it easily. You'd say Evo P.E.K.K.A. is A or B? Really? Oh, I don't know, man. Honestly, I don't know. It's just not as good as it used to be, you know? After all of the nerfs that it got, or I say all of the nerfs, after the nerf that it got, it's just, I don't know, man. I just don't think it's really all that good anymore. I'll put it in C tier. Maybe I'll adjust it later. But I really feel it's like a C or a D tier evolution. Like a Knight evolution tier. I don't want to put it into S, just because I would say that these Evos are better than the Mega Knight Evo. I would rather have these in my deck than the Mega Knight Evo, but the Mega Knight Evo is still very strong. Just the knockback ability makes it sometimes just get, like, it makes it, you get, like, your opponent get damage on your tower that he just should not be getting sometimes, and I feel like, yeah, it can get a lot of value with that knockback. It's very, very solid, especially against, like, beatdown decks. If you can just keep on knocking back that, like, a giant or a golem or something over and over and over and build up a nasty counter push with it, it's pretty sick. Also, I just gotta stick in the A tier for the cool factor. You know, when it spawns in, it yells Mega Knight, which honestly just kind of crazy aura from the Mega Knight. The Evo Electro Dragon. This might be a controversial rating for me. You guys can let me know either in the comments of the YouTube video or you know, in the chat. I'm gonna put this into D tier, okay? Now, there's a reason not a lot of people are using the Electro Dragon, like in top ladder. It's just because the thing just, like, gets sniped by way too much. Like, it just died. Like, it's very non-spell resistant. Fireball, Zap takes it out, Lightning takes it out. A lot of people are using heavy spells in the meta right now, and I just don't think it's in a very good spot right now. It used to get used a lot with E-Golem, but now you don't really see too many people using it anymore, just because I just don't think it's as strong as it used to be. It's just another one of those cards that you can get, like, if you know how to place your troops, you can get King Tower activation with it. And yeah, I just don't think it gets as much value as it used to, so I think this is a D tier evolution that gets slightly better than these two cards at the bottom in F, but yeah, I wouldn't put it higher than D tier, honestly. There probably is going to be some people disagreeing. Right now it's kind of bad. Yeah, exactly. I agree, man. I think it's pretty bad. It's a pretty bad evolution. I thought it was so cool when it first got released with, like, the, you know, obviously sapping around all over the place. But yeah, it's in a bad spot right now. Musketeer Evo. I feel like this is another one of those mid-tier evolutions. Sometimes you can get a ton of value with it, and then sometimes it's just like it just ends up like performing like a kind of like a regular musketeer. Honestly, really depends on the deck you're playing. I feel like most cards that are situational end up falling around this B to C tier area. I feel like this is more on the lines of like a B tier Evo. I feel like you can get some, like, more times than not, you can get value out of it, but I wouldn't call it an A tier. I wouldn't say it's like one of the stronger evolutions in the game at the moment. Next up, the Cannon evolution. Okay, this might be one of the stronger Evos in the game as well. I think the Cannon Evo just gets a ton of freaking value, bro. It just gets a ton of freaking value. And, shit, is this A or S tier? I really want to put it into, into S tier, bro. I can't lie, but it did get a small nerf. Yeah, it did. But I still think, like, even after the nerf, it's still really good. If Evo's Spirit is S, Cannon gotta be S2. Yeah. It's just so good defensively, and I feel like most of the time it gets a lot of really good value. I'm gonna stick it in S tier, bro. Honestly, do something about it. Do something about it. It's gotta go into S tier for me, bro. This thing is just, like, especially when you're using, like, I feel like most people are using this in, like, hog decks. It does get a lot of value, yeah. And especially against, like, split lane decks, you know, recruits, like Royal Hogs deck, stuff like that. This thing is nasty. Giant Snowball. Bro, I love this Evo so much. I think it's so fun, and like stuff like Expo, where you like giant snowball everything and then get like a bunch of like troops out of the way I don't know, man. I think this is like another one of those mid-tier Evos. It's like a C tier, I think, honestly, in my opinion. I just feel like it's very situational. I don't find it gets like crazy value a lot of the time. And like I said, these Evos at the top are like at least 8 times out of 10, getting more value than their regular card. I find the Evo Snowball, it's just very situational, and I think its C tier is appropriate for that. I would even considering it bumping down to D tier, but I'm gonna leave it at C tier for now, honestly. We're starting to get into some broken Evo territory, by the way. We've got one more. I'd say like average Evo, and that's the Dark Goblin. I think this thing can be good, but most of the time it's kind of average. You know what I mean? It's kind of average. Like, I think it's another C tier. Am I crazy? I'd say even sometimes D tier, because a lot of the times, if you're playing Dark Goblin, a lot of the times people have like counters to the Dark Goblin, like your arrows, your logs. I'll concede and put it at C. I'll concede and put it at C, only because, yeah, like I said, I feel like most people have counters to the Dark Goblin. The log, arrows. I mean, even like throwing a knight right in its face. I find most of the time it doesn't get a ton of value for the evolution. And even just saying that out loud makes me want to put it down to D tier. I know I'm leaving it in D tier. That's my final verdict, I think. A lot of the time, I just don't think it gets the value that the evolution has, because a lot of people are using arrows, log, and stuff that just counter it pretty easily. Now, here we go. Lumberjack evolution. When this thing was a one card cycle, this would have easily been an S tier. This evolution is still so good. It just doesn't appear as often. So I'm considering like S or A. Like, depending on what you're using, sometimes it can be easy to kite the ghost. The rage stack was annoying and OP. Yeah, dude, the rage stack was such a stupid idea, honestly. I don't know why or who at Supercell thought that was a good idea. I'm gonna keep it at A. I don't think it's like as game breaking as it was when it was first released, but it can definitely still get a lot of value and a lot of damage if you don't counter it properly. Let's start with the Hunter. The Hunter is for sure an S tier. Very consistently gets a ton of value with its ability, like snaring thing. So good against the Lava Hound, so good in Royal Giant decks. Both the Royal Giant and the Hunter paired together as evolutions. Good luck. Honestly, good luck stopping that push. Unless you've got an Inferno Tower or something along those lines that are really good at countering that. I'd say Hunter Evo is an easy S tier for me. Executioner evolution, I'd say, is also an easy S tier, bro. This thing is super strong with the knockback and the increased damage on cards that are close. It is a menace. It truly is a menace, bro. It is so good, and honestly, the evolution solved a lot of the problems that the regular evolution had, which was not getting a ton of damage on tankier units like giants, even like stuff like mini P.E.K.K.A.s or knights, you know, stuff like that, like mini tanks. And the knockback just makes it so much stronger against even like decks like E-Golem decks or you know, stuff like that. It is really good. And for the last card, the Witch evolution, we're just gonna make a new tier. We're gonna add a row above S, and it's gonna be called Please Nerf. And we're gonna slide the Witch Evo right into that, because bro, this thing is ridiculous. Dude, does anybody else think that this thing is a nerf? I think that when paired up with decks like Graveyard, with cards like the Tombstone, any other skeleton cards, even the Skeleton King, this card is broken. It just doesn't die. You can fireball it, you can poison it, it doesn't need a nerf, but I always use fireball and zap together to kill it. See, and that's the thing. Maple, that is a negative elixir trade. You, like, if you're always fireball zapping it, you're just negative elixir It is just a negative elixir trade, and your opponent is just always going to get value out of that no matter what, which in my opinion warrants a nerf. If no matter what, you are going to get a negative elixir trade against a card, it is broken in my opinion, which now dies from lightning even at max HP now. Oh, does it? Did they nerf it? Okay, then that's good. That's good. Because I remember when it first came out, and it had like the extra HP, I lightninged it once and it didn't die. And I think I just wanted to like throw my phone across the room. Honestly. Still though, it still needs like more of a nerf. It still needs more of a nerf, I'd say. That's gonna do it for this tier list. If you made it all the way to the end, you might be interested in the fact that I might be streaming again. I'm gonna try and stream again tonight. Just